For me, the mentality is a really simple one in the sense that the confidence comes from preparation. So when the game's on the line, I'm not asking myself to do something that I haven't done thousands of times before, right? So when I prepare, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing. Right? And so in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before. So what's one more time? I think I was born to play, man. I started playing at like 2 years old. And my father wasn't one of these fathers that was like, you're going to play basketball, or, he wasn't one of those guys. He was just I was just around the game a lot, and I gravitated to the ball, and I was completely geeking out about like the smell of the ball and like the way it sounds when it hits concrete versus how it hits a parquet floor, and like the sound of the nets and the different material of the nets. And there's certain basketball hoops, like in high school gyms and in college gyms, the rim sits slightly above the lower part of the backboard. And it was like I was geeking out if I got into a gym which was like the NBA, with the lower extension of the backboard and the hoop were completely parallel with each other. Like little shit like that would freak me out. So to answer your question, I was born to do this thing, man, and I did it nonstop all day long, from the age of 2 to when I retired, man. A lot of funny looks my last year when people said, okay, what are you going to do when you retire? And I said, well, I'm going to be a storyteller. Okay, that's cute. What is that? I said, well, I tell stories. Okay, all right, but so when you retire, you're going to go through different stages. You're going to be depressed the first week, the second week, and they would tell me this all the time. And so I felt like the nomination was validation that this thing is real. And I can do this. I do have talent other than dribbling and shooting the basketball. I can actually write. Yeah, so I think that was the most important thing.
That is a great lesson. No matter what you do, there's other talents that you haven't nurtured yet that are sort of waiting there for you.
But I just have one simple question, really. Kobe, you have been one of the all-time great competitors that have ever played in any sport. And I'm real curious to know what it was like for you with all of the grit and all of the makeup that you had to be such a great competitor. How did you deal with the players that you played with, knowing that they were still kind of somewhere on the spectrum, but you were on the top of it?
Good question.
It's a great question. My response might sound a little tough, but I'd kill him, I'd bury him. It's tolerance for that, and the kind of culture that the Laker organization stood for in winning championships is not tolerated. You're going to show up to play, and you're going to lollygag through this scrimmage, through this drill. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to let you know I beat you. I'm going to want you to reconsider your professional life choice. And for the most part, people will say, okay, that doesn't make a great teammate. Well, I'm not here to be a great teammate. I'm here to help you win championships. So there's a difference. And fortunately for us and for me, we had an organization that it was championships or nothing. And they were really good about identifying that and bringing players in here that had that competitive streak and getting rid of the ones that did not. If I got to fight to get you in the gym, that's a problem. That's a problem. You want players that are gym rats, players that want to be in the gym, that want to work. And then from there, you build on top of that. But if you're lazy, man, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. You don't make me feel dumber. You're going to lower my level. I don't think so. You can go over there. There's plenty of teams in here where you'll fit right in. We talk about hard work all the time. It's like, man, if you got to get up every single morning and remind yourself how hard you need to work, you probably need to choose a different profession, because that shouldn't be there. I wake up in the morning excited to get to it. If I'm not training, I'm missing it. If I'm not watching a game of basketball, I miss it. there's no place I'd rather be. And if you have that feeling, then you're truly doing what God has put you on this earth to do. Well, I mean, in business, it's a little different. It's. I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. You always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when like my teammates would say, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit me with an elbow in practice, and Nick Van Exel would come up and say, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, what? Are you okay? What the hell's wrong with you?" So like I always had that extra chip on my shoulder. So like every day in practice for me was really trying to annihilate everybody that I was playing against, because I wanted to prove you don't need to babysit me. Like I'm fine, And so it's always that competitive nature, the work ethic, and curiosity. Because I asked a lot of questions. Playing with BRYANT Scott, I asked him a lot of questions. Eddie Jones, who was great at chasing guards off the screens, and I didn't understand how to do that. I would sit with him before practice, after practice. Magic, James Worthy, Kurt Rambis, Kareem Abdul, all the Laker greats. I would always sit down and just ask them questions about certain games that I studied growing up. What actually happened there? What did you feel there? Why? Bird tough to defend. Why? Because you look slow as shit to me. So like, I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean? And so I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could. I think a lot of times, when we're born into this world, we actually wind up going backwards. And it seems like the more we mature, the more responsible our dreams become. And the more governors we put on ourselves and our ability to dream and to reimagine. And it's always a fight for us parents and for you guys to make sure that your dreams always stay pure. And so it's not a matter of pushing beyond your limitations or expectations. It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless.
For us, Kobe was drafted at 17, and I'll never forget meeting him. He was a eager young man, and I'll never forget our waiter. We went to lunch, and our waiter, Kobe asked him if he spoke Spanish, and the waiter said, "Yes, I do." And Kobe said, "I'm going to learn Spanish." And I thought that was so odd for somebody so young to give himself a challenge like that. And now you speak beautiful Spanish, Italian. You do your press conferences in both languages. So, the idea that we had a franchise player in this young kid was a gift for our family. And the idea that you have been a Laker for 20 years throughout your entire career, that meant a lot to my father, Dr. Buss, that you were a Laker for life, and you were.
Thank you.
And when you set your dreams, a lot of times, especially in business and entrepreneurship, you have a big vision, and people will instantly start asking you how you'll do it. And so what we tell people is don't get caught up with the how, because if you know every step to accomplish your dream, you haven't really dreamed big enough.
Yeah.
You should know every step of the way, and you'll have a tendency to walk it back. And so I would say, be unrealistic in your dreams as well.
I always dreamed as a kid that it was possible to score 80 or 90 or 100. I always just had a dream. Sometimes you lay down in bed and you visualize things. And you just kind of, that's at least how I would go to sleep. I'd lay down, I'd imagine playing for the Lakers, and I would imagine what the uniforms look like. I would imagine where we'd be playing, and the smell of the arena and all sort of stuff. And I would see myself, getting hot, score 10 straight points. And then, but in a dream, like, why would you ever interrupt that? Like, you're not going to have a dream and be like, okay, then he misses his next 6. Like, it's not going to happen. So you just keep dreaming and dreaming and dreaming, and before I go to sleep, I'm like at 120 points, you know? And so when you grow up, downloading that into your brain over and over and over, and then, you know, that summer, I made 1,000 shots a day. 1,000, right? That's on top of weight training and my conditioning. I made 1,000 shots, and they weren't just shots. It were shots that you saw in that game. There were specific shots. I mean, it was coming out of the corner, going to the pinch post, footwork in the post, coming off the screen. It was very specific. So when you download that into your system and you go out in the court and you're just executing things that you've done thousands of times before, and you have that dream, then that becomes possible. There's why reinvent it? Like, I don't understand that. You go out and play the game and you're just trying to create something new. No, this is what I do. This is what I do extremely well. You're gonna have to stop me from doing that. And if you do stop me from doing that, I have a counter to that. Done.
When you have your star player who is the first one at the gym and the last one to leave, it sets the bar for everybody else. He made my job so much easier because of his leadership. I don't think he ever really gets the credit for the amount of work that he puts in, because he made it look effortless. And, you know, sometimes, you know, his teammates would get a little frustrated with you because you did set the bar so high. But that's what made the Lakers great for your tenure as a Laker, and we miss you.
My philosophy was a very simple one. And this is where I think film plays a big part of my life. You know, Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up, right? But after watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day, so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, you know, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but you know, if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, I mean, what do you have?
Do you have a mindfulness or meditative practice that you used while you played?
Yeah, well, Phil introduced meditation to us when he came to our team in '99, 2000. And it was something that I instantly gravitated to because I could see the effects. Right? I used to watch, you know, studying the games, the Bulls teams, and you know, watching their demeanor, watching their composure, playing in a tough place in like Utah, doing the finals and being down 17. But everybody was like this. You couldn't tell if they were down 17 or up 20 or a tie game. It never changed. And I was wondering why the hell that is. And that's when I started doing more research. And when Phil came, I immediately gravitated to it and found myself accepted the challenge of finding what that space is. And for the 81-point game, man, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about the game. My knee was hurting so much. I didn't know then, but you know, I had a flap of joint, of cartilage stuck in my joint line. And so my mind was really trying to go to a place where I don't feel that pain. And the game started, and because of that, I was just in a different space. I wasn't worried about what was to come. I wasn't worried about what just happened. I was just here. And when you're just there in the moment, playing plays right in front of you, your focus is heightened because nothing else matters. And that's the space I've tried to get to.
It's a perfect definition of mindfulness, in the present moment without judgment.
Well, I mean, here's why practice was important to me. Not from just the standpoint that I enjoyed playing. Like, I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed getting better. But as a leader of a team, it's also your responsibility to elevate the rest of the guys. And what people tend to get stuck on a lot is saying, okay, the way to make players better is to pass them the ball when they're open. That's a very trivial way to look at things. What you have to do is you have to get them emotionally to want to be better. You have to get them to an emotional space where they wake up every morning driven to be the best version of themselves, right? How do you do that? And in practice, for me, it was a chance to drive them, to challenge them, right? And this is where you have to know your teammates. Because if it's late, we just had a back-to-back and we had practice the next day, and you show up and guys don't feel like going through the motions, don't feel like practicing. It's important to know each and every one of them individually, personally, because then you know what nerve to touch. Some guys, it's like, okay, come on, we can do this. That'll get them going. Other guys, no. You got to figure out what button to push. Powell was always Spain. If I tell them how they lost in a gold medal to us and how they're going to lose again, how I'm going to beat your ass in practice just like I beat you in a gold medal game, he would hate that. He'd hate that. But that's what practice was. You have to drive them. You absolutely have to. And if practice is more intense and harder than a Game 7 will be, then a Game 7 will be easy. But if it's not, then that's when teams start folding and capitulating. It's so sweet that she saw me work so hard for so many years. And the last few years, her and Rob, who was at the time my agent, called me and said, listen, we are so sorry for what happened to this team. We're sorry that we don't have, seriously, it's like we're sorry we don't have a team around you that can contend for a championship. I mean, so we can make a few calls and get you on a contending team if that's something, because we just feel horrible about seeing you going out there and struggle. Remember this? And I sat there and I listened. I said, we've known each other for a very long time. Now I'm questioning myself because I'm wondering what about me makes you think I would jump ship? We don't do that.
Because
we don't do that.
We couldn't take losing and how angry you would get.
I know. That's probably what it is.
We were scared.
Yeah, I flipped a few tables. Maybe more than a few tables.
It's like that Kobe face.
I felt bad for Mitch. Well, not really. A little bit.
When we lost to the Celtics in 2008, you and Phil Jackson used to say it's worse to lose in the finals than to not make the playoffs at all. And losing, especially to the Celtics, was that much more difficult. But you just took that right from the court and went to the Olympics and led the team to a gold medal. So you took that, and then you were on a mission to get back into the finals and win, and you did. And like,
but we played. But to me, it's fan. Like it's not like the Lakers. I've been a Laker fan since 5 years old, man. I know the Laker history all the way from Minneapolis all the way to where it is today. Right? So it's in my blood. And this family, her father, believing in me and standing by me and all sorts of stuff. Like I'm not gonna go anywhere. Like this is home to me. We work through this stuff together. And like, as a leader, you gotta be able to take the good with the bad, man. You can't just, because the ship's sinking, all of a sudden I'm gonna jump off and swim to another ship like that. You don't do that. Right? If you can win championships in front of everybody, then you could miss the playoffs in front of everybody. You gotta be able to take both sides of it.
What can I say? Mamba out.